If I touch you, I won't stop, he snapped. But Aiden's body wasn't listening to him at that moment. Something primal within him was seeking solace. The bond was already stirring between them. The air buzzed with it, instinct pulling, glands reacting. Two halves of something ancient and inevitable. He reached for Elia's. And the moment their skin touched, the bond snapped open. Chapter 1: The Roommates. When Aiden first moved into the university dorms, he didn't expect much. He just wanted peace. Away from the noise of other alphas. Away from the tension that always followed him like a leech. He was relieved to meet his new roommate, Elias. Elias was an alpha, so he had thought. But not the kind that made Omegas shrink away. He was handsome in an unhealthy way, but had what Aiden wanted the most. He was quiet, so quiet that the air around him felt almost still. His scent was faint, nearly absent. Most alphas carried pheromones that clung to the air like heat and smoke. But Elias' presence was muted, sealed behind invisible walls. Aiden felt safe with him. Safe from the kind of attention he feared. Safe from bonds his body wasn't ready to answer. He wasn't ready to be bonded to any alpha. But he was wrong. Chapter 2: The First Slip. It began on a rainy evening. Aiden had returned to the dorm, drenched and shivering. His clothes clutching tightly against his almost pale, translucent, beautiful skin. His books soaked through, only to find Elias sitting by the window, reading in silence. The lamplight painting soft shadows across his face, enchantingly. Elias looked up and gazed at the shivering Aiden. His gaze darkened momentarily. His throat burped. Then something changed. A scent filled the air, sharp, earthy, rich, like cedarwood after rain. It wrapped around Aiden, heavy, wild, yet subtle, like a mischievous child, setting his skin alight. It gripped Aiden's lungs, pulled at something deep in his glands, made his skin warm beneath his damp clothes. For a moment, time froze. This wasn't the quiet alpha he thought he knew. This was something deeper, wilder. Then, just as quickly, Elias looked away. His control snapped back into place. The scent almost vanished. But Aiden's body remembered. Because at that moment, he had felt the pull he was dreading for years. That night his glands ached, whispering one truth. Elias hiding something. And it was something he feared would consume him forever. Chapter 3: Secrets Behind His Eyes. Days passed, but the air between them changed. Elias kept his distance, careful and calm. He tried avoiding Aiden, his face calm, his voice low, his movements careful. But Aiden began to notice the cracks in his composure. The way his fingers trembled when their arms brushed. The way his pupils darkened whenever Aiden's scent spiked after a run. The way he clenched his jaw whenever another alpha spoke to Aiden. Even stranger, other alphas avoided him. Not out of respect, but out of something more. One of them had whispered one afternoon after a run. "Stay away from your roommate, he isn't normal." Aiden laughed it off, but the unease stayed. What kind of alpha hid his scent, and why? He found himself wanting to know more about his quiet roommate. Aiden also failed to notice that he was becoming more and more involved with Elias. The way his face would scrunch up when someone was too close to Elias. Or the way he had clutched his fist tightly when a guy was hitting on Elias. Chapter 4: The Heat. When Aiden's first heat in the dorms came, it was during the weekend. He did everything he thought was right. He had taken suppressants and locked the door. But suppressants sometimes failed, and that night they did. His scent filled the room, sweet and heavy, curling through the air like honey and smoke. He tried to bury himself beneath the sheets, praying Elias would stay away for the weekend. And then he heard Elias breathing. Rough, uneven, barely in control. He had failed to notice when Elias came back and unlocked the door because of the pain he was in. When Aiden turned, he saw Elias' eyes glow faintly yet dangerously in the dark. And for the first time, Aiden felt it completely, the scent of cedarwood after rain. It was wild, powerful, and impossible to ignore. It pressed down on him, not in dominance, but in sheer, natural force. Pheromones that crushed every cell of Aiden's body, dragging him down, making his glands flare open. Elias wasn't ordinary, he wasn't docile. He was something rare and dangerous. That was when Aiden understood. Elias wasn't ordinary. He was something rare, something dangerous. An enigma. Chapter 5 claimed. Elias tried to resist. His hands gripped the bed frame, knuckles white, body shaking with effort. Don't, he rasped, voice cracking. When Aiden climbed down from his bed and made his way towards him unstably. If I touch you, I won't stop, he snapped. But Aiden's body wasn't listening to him at that moment. Something primal within him was seeking solace. The bond was already stirring between them. The air buzzed with it, instinct pulling, glands reacting. Two halves of something ancient and inevitable. He reached for Elias. And the moment their skin touched, the bond snapped open. Aiden's glands pulsed against Elias, pulling, desperate, pleading. Elias' pheromones crashed into Aiden, flooding him until he couldn't breathe. When their hands met, the world tilted. Their scents collided, flooded, intertwined in perfect synergy. Aiden gasped, every nerve alive, screaming for a release only Elias' pheromones could quench. Please, Aiden pleaded, eyes misty with tears. Elias' control snapped when he gazed at those limpid, soft eyes. Those eyes that always had him reeling in almost every time his gaze met with it. And then Elias' lips brushed the side of his neck. A soft graze. Not deep enough to mark, but enough to awaken the bond completely. Enough to soothe Aiden. And in that moment, Aiden's body screamed the one word neither dared to speak aloud. Mate. Destined mated with 100% compatibility. A very rare occurrence between an Enigma and an Omega. Chapter 6 The Aftermath. When Aiden woke up the next morning, the room was silent, but the air was heavy with Elias' scent. His neck burned where Elias' teeth had grazed him. Elias' scent lingered, thick, impossible to wash away. He stood by the window, his back to Aiden, breathing hard, shoulders rigid, voice low. You shouldn't have chosen me, he finally whispered. I am not the alpha you think I am. Aiden tried to speak, but his throat was dry. His glands still throbbed, begging for him. He could feel the bond still pulsing and pulling between them, wordless and strong. Why hide? Aiden asked finally in a hoarse, raspy voice. Why pretend you're ordinary? Elias' reply was soft. Almost a confession. Because enigmas don't get happy endings, especially not with Omegas. Aiden sighed resignedly, cursing at fate and the moon goddess for playing a huge joke on him. Chapter 7 The Truth. Enigmas were rare alphas, born with pheromones too strong for their bodies to control. Feared, desired, and sometimes hunted. Once they bonded, the link was permanent. The connection could never be broken. That was why Elias hid his nature. Why he buried his scent. Why he had tried to keep Aiden at a distance. Afraid of hurting Aiden with his overwhelming pheromones. But it was already too late. Aiden's heart and his scent already belonged to him. Every time Elias suppressed his pheromones, Aiden's chest ached. Every time he left the room, his skin burned. And every time their eyes met, Aiden knew. His heart had already chosen to be with his destined mate against his wish. Chapter 8, Redemption. One night, Elias opened up to Aiden on why he's been hiding himself. I am scared of breaking you like I did my first bond. I killed my last bond, he said, his voice breaking. I couldn't control it. My pheromones consumed him. His body couldn't bear the toll on his already sickly body. We have 60% compatibility, and our parents felt it was already good enough as they wanted us bonded for a business deal. He choked back a sob, his voice hoarse. The words shattered something inside Aiden. But when he reached for Elias' hand, clasping their hands together. In that instant, the air softened. Elias' scent softened, no longer sharp, no longer wild, just soothing. You're not the same anymore, Aiden whispered. Your scent doesn't destroy me, it completes me. Aiden continued softly, leaning against his shoulder. And for the first time, Elias' eyes held something fragile. Hope. Chapter 9, The Bond Deepens. Their days grew quieter, but heavier. Every brush of fingers sparked something deeper. Every brush of skin sparked heat. Every shared glance carried weight. Aiden's body betrayed him again and again. His glands opened whenever Elias was near, yearning and craving for a touch. He tried to control his Omega instinct for its mate by avoiding Elias whenever he could. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to stop himself from throwing himself into Elias' arm before Elias could make a move to claim and mark him permanently. And Elias, he fought himself every second. Elias struggled against the pull, against his own nature, to dominate his mate. Why can't you feel the bond yet? Elias asked Aiden one night, voice low, trembling. You're already mine, so why does it still feel like you're running away from me, from us? Aiden looked down. Because he was afraid, not of Elias, but of losing himself in him, of what it meant to belong to someone. Afraid to surrender completely. He has always been afraid to be burdened by what the society defines Omega's fate. To be bonded to a strong alpha and to procreate. He craved freedom, but craved Elias more than he was willing to admit. Chapter 10, You Are Mine. The next time Aiden's rut came, it came without warning. It was a night that sealed their fate forever. He had come back after a busy day, and Elias arrived back almost at the same time as he did. Aiden had rushed into the shared bathroom to take a quick shower, afraid of repeating the last awkward episode between them. Only that fate seems to be targeting him, especially lately. He had almost finished showering when his heat hit him hard. He groaned painfully as he hit the floor with a loud thud. Elias was given a huge scare when he heard the sound of someone falling down, and without a second, rushed over in panic. But he was almost drowned by the scent of pheromones spiking out of control. Immediately, he opened the bathroom door. He picked the naked Aiden up in his strong arm and left the bathroom. However, when he wanted to put Aiden down, he wouldn't budge and clinged onto him desperately while rubbing against Elias' glands. Please, mark me, he pleaded tearfully. Suppressants, Elias asked through gritted teeth. No, I want you, please, Aiden said in between broken sobs. Trembling in Elias' arm, his body convulsing painfully. He wanted to tell Elias that his suppressants stopped working, but was in so much pain that he could only grope and kiss him to convey his wishes. I hope this is what you want, he said, eyes dark with finality. Before Aiden could speak, Elias pulled him close, his lips brushing the pulse at his neck. He bit his glands, deeply this time, marking him permanently. Forever bonded. Mine, his body screamed in exhilaration. His pheromones flared, rich and wild, wrapping Aiden in warmth and fire. From this moment, he whispered, voice breaking. You're mine forever, even if the world burns for it.